Welcome to part two of me developing around the gutter area. If you didn't see part one, I built this beauty. You should go check it out. I explain everything and why I did it. But before I even got started with blueprints, I put together 18 pallets of weed stems and 4 pallets of grass planks. I don't use a lot of grass planks in my builds. It's mainly just for color here and there. But other than that, like on a large scale, I don't really like how they look. And while I was laying down blueprints, the ants decided they didn't like me. Again. However, this time a couple appeared behind me and I was incredibly confused because of this. Not only did it disappear, but it was attacking structures way out of its reach, so I assumed it was just a bug. So I got my first set of blueprints laid out and realized I had nowhere near enough crude rope on me. I made my way back to my starter base and realized I didn't have enough there either. So I gathered up everything I needed, did a little rearranging, and prepared an army of spinning wheels that more than keeps up with my needs, as long as I continue to fill them. Now we can actually begin the build. This building is mainly for pallet storage. There are a few little alcoves that can hold a few chests, maybe for bricks and other building materials. The vibe I'm going for here is medieval with the stones on the bottom and the wood hanging over on the upper level. This building continued off the walkway I did last time, and I wanted to go along the wall of the step. So that ended up putting everything on an angle, which lined up perfectly with the step, but it also kind of made it a little complicated for adding layers of details. But I did learn you can create a lot of space with less materials if you build diagonally. I wanted to get the shelves started so I can bring the pallets in so I'm not running back and forth to get a pallet. The long shelf running across the back wall does get changed. I really just didn't like how it looked unsupported. These door frames, I think, make far better columns than the columns we actually have. They're slimmer and just overall look better, but unfortunately they cannot be placed diagonally. Here's a quick look at the grass plank storage shelves. I really like how they look. I do actually add a wooden half wall in the middle of this longer section to give it that support, and this is what made me want to change the entire wall behind me. And here it is. It looks more like structural shelving, kind of like what you'd see at a big box store like Walmart or Home Depot. I was having trouble placing the grass planks, so I had to delete some blueprints to be able to place the lower shelves, but I do eventually realize I can just hop up there and crouch, and I'd be low enough to place the planks without the upper blueprints being in the way. And it was an immediate time difference having the grass pallets right behind me while building. And up here, being able to see through this crack did make me want to put a ceiling in, but I ultimately decided not to because when you're just down there, it's really not something that's noticeable. So I was just finishing up this section here and minding my own business when another raid happened. This makes 4 raids since I've started building in this area. That's about 20 days in game or so, and I haven't been killing anything since I started but food and maybe 3 black ants that were trying to take my food. Not sure why this is happening. However, this time I did see how the ants were getting around to the back. Still doesn't explain the disappearing ant though. Also, I didn't notice they broke that chest with all my mushroom bricks in it, which is the first time that's happened to me, and I'm very annoyed that everything in the chest just gets destroyed too. Like you don't even get the chance to recover the items, and I still had about 500 mushroom bricks in there. But back to the build, I didn't mention the 2 mushroom doors I added. One is to the basement. I have no plans with that area at the moment, but I did put floors and walls down there. The second is right up top, and this is going to lead to my plank catcher area. But first, I needed to once again head back to my starter base to get all the mushrooms I collected before so I can make another load of mushroom bricks, as well as some other items, including my ant armor, finally, and I do not plan on leaving this chest in the open this time. I hope this jumping isn't too much, but I felt it was necessary while building. This area here needed to be kind of like a bowl. I needed kind of high walls to catch all the stems and planks, but I also needed it to be big enough to make sure the stems coming in wouldn't glitch through. Down at the bottom, I do eventually add a door to get in, but I don't build any walls or floors like I did in the other section because I just don't know what I'm doing with this space yet. I do relocate the turret to the top of the tower on the rock, but it can't see over the brick wall, so I had to build a little podium to get a better view while you're in it. Added a little storage basket for the rocks. I also ended up changing it up a little bit to build around it to have like just a little bit of defense on the tower. And I put in a window so you can easily access the chest underneath. Jumping to a few detail pieces such as railings and the table and chairs. But we are not done. Now we're over here by the sandbox at the best place to farm for weed stems. And what we're doing here is building an elevator so we can get high enough to send the weed stems across back to the gutter base. And if you want to learn how to build an elevator like this, you can check out my channel for tutorials. This guy got pretty tall. 10 bounce webs, a total of 30 blocks to the landing, but it needed to be this tall so I can get over the corner of the sandbox. Just setting up the anchor here for takeoff. I do put in a couple of lights here as well. I left a pin right on the zipline anchor so I can see exactly where I needed to clear out. So after getting the right angle on the landing pad, I knocked down the grass I needed to knock down, cleaned it up, double checked I was cleared until I could place the line. Gave it a quick test, also went down it myself and found a little hiccup in the landing pad, but I do fix that by taking the wall down by a half step. And if you stick around until the very end, I'll show you how well this actually works. Now I just needed to light the new place up, and here we are. I got this little garden patch with mushrooms and sprigs and clovers. Plenty of pallet storage space in here. The way I'm doing it, I could put 64 weed pallets in there, but you could do even more if you cram them in. I just like them to be a little more spaced out. Plus, the top 2 shelves are a little more difficult to place the pallets on, so I probably just won't. This bowl works great for catching the weed stems. I may need to add another half layer, but I don't really want to. The tower took me 3 days in game to build. And some beautiful nighttime shots. I really do like this garden. I'm going to expand it a bit, like around to the other side. Some nighttime interior shots. I couldn't get the firefly lanterns to come on during the day, and I didn't want to wait until nighttime to take more pictures. An overview of the entire project is coming up, and then we are going to jump into the game and show you how much easier this makes my life. We are now at the tower, gathering up the last little bit of wheat stems left that I cut down. 7 out of 8, that's perfect. Let's ride back up to the top. These are so fun. You should definitely get one. And I was just a little short. That's been happening a lot here. I think I messed up the last bounce web when I placed it. Hello, birdie. So I cut down 7 of the biggest husky weeds. More bang for your buck that way. So let's see what we've got. My biggest fear is that I get there and there's nothing. But I think the rule is you have 1 day to pick it up after it's cut and 3 days if you've picked it up and dropped it. But people have said there's disappeared in the zip line if it's just too long. Fingers crossed. I guess they're loading in. The pile is moving and growing. Did any go overboard? I see a couple. I can only see 3 this way. The ants terrify me over here now. Is that one? No, that's just the scaffolding. How about anywhere else? Nothing. Nothing over here. So from the immediate surrounding area, I only see those 3. Yeah, nothing else. So let me start gathering them up and put some numbers together to see how well we did here. Okay, first impressions, incredible. Let me just say, other than the pallet and a half I already had down here, I got these here in about half a day's time. That includes everything from cutting them down to stacking them here. But to the numbers, I cut down 7 of the biggest husky wheats, 23 wheat stems each. That's 161. I got 160. That's only 1 missing, and I only got 3 that went over, and they were just right here and easy to get. I call it a win, and it saved me a lot of time. I say this build is well worth it. And this is my wall edit, by the way, so your little feetsies don't get caught. Honestly, at that speed, it would have probably ripped your feet off and you go splat. But that is it for this one. I already have a lot planned, especially for beefing up security around here. Some more decorations planned as well. These lights are kind of terrible. I'm going to add some on the shelves. But I'm out. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support. I'll see ya.